On October 2nd, 2018, I learned that our family home, our cabin in the woods, had been turned into a meth lab. The impact has been devastating. The emotional toll, staggering. What was once our sacred cabin, our sacred space, had lost all its sense of safety and security. I found myself climbing and jumping through 100 huge hurdles, literally in the 100 first days. With wonky eyes caused by double vision that I had, which was the reason I rented out the cabin in the first place because of a health event, I had to navigate how to find an attorney, how to deal with the legal protocols, understand what meth and meth toxins does to a home, especially a restored cabin where the toxins get infused in the porous wood. I had to understand and learn state and county regulations and protocols. I had to learn about meth toxin testing, remediation, and find people in that industry that could help guide me. That was just the first 100 days. And then I truly thought, unbeknownst to me, that the people who could be helped were responsible for this, who had insurance. I had hired a management company to help me temporarily rent out my home while I navigated the new normal of my life, leaving a 30-plus year career due to a health event in finance, banking, and lending. I had thought I had put all the right protections in place. I had asked all the right questions. I followed protocols, and I had a team of people that would ensure the safety of my home. And within 90 days, this happened. I also learned that even though I had the right insurance endorsements to have a tenant in there, and the tenant had renter's insurance, that all of our insurance policies under residential properties don't cover criminal activity. And my insurance was void. And so was his. So I found myself with a condemned home that I couldn't live in, paying thousands of dollars every month to navigate what was needed to get out of this mess, as well as find a place to live. And I was fortunate enough to have family and dear friends that would house me. I'm the mother of 3 children, but they were all in various stages of college at that time, and nobody needed a place to live at home. They were off living their lives. As I learned all this, and I stood on my deck with the meth testing, the owner of the meth testing company that I used, and I learned about the levels in my home, which significantly exceeded the Colorado standard by hundreds of %. And then I went to the next step to have several remediation companies come to my home to give me bids on how to clean it up. I learned that although they were happy to try, they thought that my home should probably be destroyed, that they would not be successful. Yet, as I navigated through the next 18 months on a legal process with the management company and a tenant who fled his criminal appearances, he was arrested on 14 felony counts. Major arsenal of drugs, or major amount of drugs, an arsenal of guns, and enough hardware to burn down our community. I was feeling very grateful that nothing more happened. But in that process, I learned that there was more to this. I learned that the meth testing company person spoke in front of realtors, and I felt this call, this responsibility for social impact, for social awareness. I worked in lending for over 30 years. I sat in thousands of closings, and I owned property since '88, and yet rental and otherwise, and yet I never knew meth toxins was even an issue. And yet, when I sat in my own deposition, the four legal teams that were hired to fight me against the responsibility for the property management, lack of even vetting the tenant at all, no credit report, no documentation, everything that I asked about, nothing was verified. They said to me, "Ms. McCarty, did you have your home tested when you bought it? How do you know it wasn't already contaminated?" And I looked at this asshole. And I said, I know what I wanted to say. He said, "Have you looked at the police report?" I knew this was my call to action. I had to turn my mess into a message to help others. It's a journey that has taken me internally, emotionally, introspectively, as well as to learn about that as much as this, nobody knows about it, this is a huge epidemic, not only here in the Front Range, but in our state, in our nation, and globally. There are people that are homeless all over the world due to meth toxins. And I feel that it is how I can honor my cabin and leave a legacy to bring awareness, education, and more to ensure that we all have places that we're safe in. And I've only just begun.